Hello traders. After making 150 videos so far, this is 151st. So welcome to another edition of Stray Dogs weekly videos. This weekly video is recorded on Sunday, April the 14th. And the theme of this video is again look ahead on indices, so bigger picture on indices, on US indices, S&P, Nasdaq, Russell, VIX also, and on German DAX. I will go through these charts on larger time frames, but I will also zoom on several ranges and important things on lower time frames. Let's go with the S&P. S&P here made a move above its own range. It was in a trading range in one balance area and made a move above it and gapped above it. This is that same range on smaller time frames, on 30-minute chart, and we can see a gap on previous chart that was a cash index chart, because S&P made a move above this area 5.5 hours before the open. So it made a move at 10 Central European time, so basically 1 hour after the German Open. It was already above it. So this is a well-formed trading range and was tested several times. So top was tested several times, and as with every range, when a range is threatened, to be broken and for price to go above the range, there are three scenarios. First scenario is that the market is going to continue going inside the range until they break, and they can break then at two ways. First way is like this, to break and go higher, and the other way is to make a false break. Americans would say look above and fail, meaning that they would look above the range and go back inside, failing, and in that case target would be to go to the lower end of the range. So this was a break, and what is characteristic about this break is that when they made a pullback, they really didn't test this range at all, and they find buyers above this range. So this is also a bullish thing. So this range could be tested in the future days, and that could be a good long opportunity on the first test. I would just want to remind you that next week we have Good Friday on Friday, and the markets are going to be closed both in the US and in Germany, and as well as this is the 240-minute chart. Again, market it is grinding higher, and this all-time high level could serve as a magnet. On lower time frames, Nasdaq was here inside this channel. It tested this gap from 3rd October of 2018. They tested it two times in the overnight session, on Friday and on Thursday. So I'm expecting it to be filled at in Monday, and the market most probably going to continue higher, because all-time high on a Nasdaq is very, very close. You see where it is. Russell also was in his own trading range, and it did that move, look above and fails. So it also made a move above the range at the same time with the S&P, but then failed below, yet it is still here, lingering here. On larger time frames, S&P and especially Nasdaq looking very bullish, very close to the all-time high. Russell is the one that is still lagging below this resistance area here, all-time high here. And on the daily chart it is looking like this, so pretty good gaps here. Those gaps, and especially this one here, it's very large, could be possible down targets if the market is to move to the all-time high and then from here react and make some larger pullback, because as you can see, this entire move really didn't make many pullbacks. It made pullback here, and this is a classic example when market makes a good move to the downside and is exhausted and the market is overdone to the downside, then the first pullback usually will be 38.2, like of this move. See, 38.2. Then they made pullback here when they tested this resistance here for the first time, and then this was the trend down day on all indices on March 22 on Friday, but then all of them negated that day by going above it. So if we are going to draw fib from this December lows to the all-time high, so if the market is going to test the all-time high and then maybe pull back a bit, 38.2 is pretty low. So pullback from all-time high to fill some of those gaps are not out of the question. We shall see about that, of course. And just note that besides this Good Friday on Friday, earnings session is already kicked in. And we already had two major US banks reporting on Friday. There was JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. And in next week, we will have on Monday Goldman Sachs, then on Tuesday Bank of America, then on Wednesday Morgan Stanley. And the banks are reporting before the open. That's not all. On Tuesday we would have also Johnson & Johnson, Netflix, IBM, then on Wednesday PepsiCo, and Alcoa as a traditional start of the earnings session. So earnings are kicking off, and those earnings will also provide additional information for the market. If we are going to see economic calendar, so on Monday nothing much. On Tuesday for German market we will have German ZEW economic sentiment. Then on Wednesday the biggest news is OPEC meetings all day, some news from China, and on Thursday we will have German flash manufacturing PMI, flash services PMI, and on the US market retail sales and core retail sales. So there are some news, there are some earnings also, and if we are going to look at the VIX, we shall see now that VIX is below this current range, printing very low values and around 12. This is the support dating from August 2018 at basically 11. So looking like VIX is really losing the ground here and could be going here to the 11, meaning this is the classic thing where the market is grinding higher. So now there is fear of missing out, and the buyers that are pushing because everybody can see that this all-time high is close, so very close to the current price, so they are pushing here to test this, and as I said again, this could act this level as a magnet. So, and really that first day when market is breaking above, like here, this is really not the day for us to attempt a short. You don't really want to short the market on the first day of a breakout. So this for now is successful breakout. So from the Monday we are going to see from Monday, is it really going to be successful or not? And the final look on US markets on the weekly charts. So all of them really looking bullish, all-time highs very near to the S&P, even closer on Nasdaq, very bullish looking Nasdaq, and also on Russell, this resistance that were tested already here, and now they made a pullback and testing it again. So this is the important level on Russell above around 1600, and if we are going to see a successful breakout above this level as a catch-up move to the S&P and to the Nasdaq that are very close to their all-time highs, but Russell isn't really that close. And if it is going to go above this resistance in this first 100 points up to the 1700, there is really those are these two candles, and there is really nothing much of a resistance here, so it could leap that 100 points very easily. And we should observe this, because move above it and then test, that first test could be, if the break is going to be successful and not a false break, it could be a really good long trade. That long idea would require Nasdaq and S&P to go to the all-time high to test it, and then Russell could make a catch-up move to them. And also to observe this resistance area, is Russell going to make that attempt at all or not? So this is about US markets. And now let's go and observe a bit of German markets. German market, DAX made a very well formed trading range, 200-point trading range. This is cash index chart, 8-day inside this range that came out of this up move. We also have two good gaps here, news related gaps, and as said below, not only the bottom of the gap, also top of the gap is often a good support level. That support lasted for 3 tests. So this one is not visible because it was in the pre-market. So 3 times was this tested, and now this upper end was also tested a few times. And on the Friday, DAX attempted a breakout in sympathy with the US market. It didn't break above it, but that is a possibility from Monday, especially if we are going to see strong Asian market. Asians could move their market up in sympathy with the US markets, and if the sentiment is really good and bullish and strong in Asian session, DAX could make a gap above this resistance and basically make a breakout on that way. In either case, if that don't happen, I suppose that we are going to see open near this level, unless there could be some bad news on DAX, and in that case we could move a bit longer inside this range. So for now, price ended here near the top of this range, and it is pointing to the good odds of this range to be broken to the upside. And on DAX cash index chart, that gap that was here was filled, and this next gap could act as a magnet. If this range is going to be broken to the upside, then this gap here from October the 5th 2018 on 12,112 could act as a magnet. Also, this is that trading range. This was this bullish descending triangle that we had, and one of the targets is also this line of the channel. And if bulls are going to be strong and continue to push this market higher, ultimate target is for them to go to here, to this resistance. This is a larger time frame resistance. And if you are interested in trading German DAX, I'm inviting you to check my site. I am running a daily dose of DAX service for DAX day traders and swing traders, and you can check my site. It is on this address, tradeogtrading.com, and here you can find more about me, more about what I do, and see some examples, see some archives of the material that members get each and every day, usually about 40 to 60 minutes before the open. So that was it. about this weekly video. Thanks for watching. I wish you good trading and good weekend.